It's kind of fitting because you talked about a quarterback and a guy that rushes the quarterbacks that we bring in our quarterback, our resident quarterback, Marshall Ferguson, for the redtag.ca aerial report to talk about heavyweight tilt we've got in Winnipeg between Vernon Adams Jr. and Zach Collaros, who have both been outstanding this season. Where do you go when you're talking about these quarterbacks, and what kind of jumps off the page first in this matchup?
The first thing for me, the biggest thing for me, is I have more respect for the way that Zach Collaros is a cold-blooded killer than any quarterback in the entire CFL. VA has the potential to do it, but the consistency hasn't been there throughout his career to just absolutely go for the throat and finish you off. Zach does it every time. The conversation between him and VA I found to be intriguing this year, and it's been muddied even more going into this game because Vernon went crazy. Vernon in that game against Calgary, to me, showed about 17 different ways to deliver the football. And that's why it was so much fun, because it wasn't just, wow, he's completing a lot of passes. He was executing the simple stuff, the short stuff creatively. He was hitting the whole shots with great accuracy and tempo on the football. He was taking the shots over the top. And the great thing about VA is that he looks deep to short when it's scramble rules. VA breaks the pocket, and he's not going here. He's as far as he can possibly look, trying to find anybody in orange. I think VA and Zach have been the best quarterbacks in the CFL this season, and now we get to see them play in a playoff game at a sold-out IG field. That's wild to me.
What numbers pop out to you the most when you're looking at the Western Division quarterbacks that we're about to see, Marsh?
Yeah, so the PFF passing grade is the first one that I pulled here, which is just to show you that Zach Collaros, according to Pro Football Focus, is actually slightly below Vernon Adams Jr. in terms of passing grades. They're just talking about ability to read things out, deliver the football, all the rest. VA is slightly higher. Sacks taken, Zach has been leaning on the Winnipeg running game, as you would expect with what they've done successfully. And then I just see the way that VA has been now upping his mobility and able to move around a little bit more cleanly. And I think that number is going to be deceiving because these are two great offensive lines as well, and I think VA could be the difference with his mobility. The sacks taken one I found to be kind of interesting because it paints the picture of how this game should unfold. Big-time throw percentage, I just put this up there to show people that they're almost the exact same. Because I think a lot of people think of, well, you know, Zach is playing the conservative style, and then once in a while he hits a big shot down the field. Zach hits as many big shots down the field and fits it into as many tight windows as Vernon Adams Jr. does. That's why this is going to be a great matchup, because the last stat here is air yards percentage. These two guys, in terms of their total yardage, Vernon gets 66.6% of his yards through the air, not yards after catch. He is throwing for his yards. He's not dumping it off and hoping somebody else takes it and runs with it. And Zach is not far behind. It's 64.4%. Again, all of this is just, you can paint this matchup between these two quarterbacks in 50 different ways, and no matter how you look at it or try to analyze it, you end up coming out just going, man, these guys are really, really, really good, and it should be an amazing matchup.
Before we even let you go, it's been well documented. VA has been, playing lights out, and he's been on point, especially last week at the best time in the season. But one thing that we haven't really seen very well, and as a quarterback, you'll appreciate this, the lack thereof, I guess, presence of a running game. Do you think that that's going to impact the game? And if so, what kind of result are we going to see, and how is that going to impact the game?
As I said, BC throws the ball more than anybody else in the CFL on first down this season. Brady Oliveira has been a record-setting season, not just for a Canadian, but it's been such a stellar campaign, and they're so comfortable running the ball in so many different ways in Winnipeg and working the line of scrimmage. I think they're going to come out and try and set the tone with their running game, and that, I think, is why you're going to see Winnipeg consistently from start to finish lean on Brady Oliveira. I don't think that's in BC's makeup. I don't think that they're designed for that. So the danger here for the BC Lions, in my opinion, is that Winnipeg controls the time of possession. VA's standing around on the sidelines. He's out of rhythm, and when he comes in, because you're throwing it so much on first down, those defensive backs like DeMario Houston leading the CFL in interceptions in the regular season with 7 this year, now all of the pressure is on VA. And the Bombers, I guarantee, internally, because they're not going to say this in the media this week, are looking at VA's performance against Calgary and going, oh, really? Yeah, not against us. There's no way that we're going to allow that to happen against us. So If that's the mentality and VA comes out and he doesn't have a high completion percentage and they're not moving the chains in the first couple of drives, then all of a sudden it starts to slant more and more and more towards Winnipeg can just run it and pound you and own the time of possession and wear you out. I think Winnipeg's going to try to do that. Winnipeg is better equipped, more talented, longer, and has now seen the very best of the BC Lions passing attack, and they're scheming up ways to disrupt it early and often, and that's real dangerous for BC. If they hit a couple, it could be a great ball game. If they don't, man, Winnipeg is just going to try and drive them into the ground.